Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. Today it is all cross stitch. I thought I would get some paper crafting in this week. Reality kind of set me straight, and so we just have cross stitch today. But maybe next week. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. This is like the fourth time I've tried to do this, so we're just gonna hopefully maybe go with it. Thank you so much for pressing play. See, I go off of what I say and then I don't remember what I'm supposed to say. I'm so happy you're here. I hope you'll like what you see. Hit like, subscribe, feel free to ask questions, and I will do my best to answer them. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you ever so much for being here. I am so grateful that you take the time to watch. I'm grateful for your friendship. I am grateful that we share this love of cross stitch and maybe paper crafting and just crafting in general together, and it just means so much to me. So I am so appreciative that you've taken the time to be here. So thank you for that. I have comments and emails that I have to respond to. This week I was away for much of the week, and so that it just I respond to everything through my laptop, and I did not bring that with me this week when I went away. Just because I knew I wasn't really going to get to it. And so I've come back, and like I said, there's comments. I know there's a few emails that people have sent me, so I just need to hopefully this weekend kind of regroup and get back with that. So I haven't been ignoring you. I just haven't gotten to it. And then I did want to say thank you for all of the deer suggestions. Isn't it funny how some things work for people and some things nothing works for people, but I took all of it to heart, and we're going to see what we can do. I was at needlework yesterday, and one of the women said that the deer were eating her. See, it wouldn't have been recently, would it? I don't remember, but she was talking about the deer eating her roses, which, you know, she was like, how did they, you know, you'd think being around the rose bushes, but, and so they're out there, they're doing their thing. So we're going to do our best to safely keep them away at bay. And then the tea suggestions, my mind is blown. I didn't realize you could buy little bag-like things that you could put the tea in. So I am going to, I'll probably search Amazon. I'm sure there's other places you can get them too. I'm trying to think, the tea place I order from, they have all like the little metal strainers, but I don't think I've ever seen the bags. So I'll do a search for that. But thank you so much. I had no clue, no idea that was even a thing. So that is fantastic. Thank you so much for those suggestions. Alrighty, so let's get right to the stitching. I believe I counted as I was writing down. I write notes every week with the fabrics and all of that. So that way I have a clue, because I'd remember some of them possibly if I've shown them quite a bit, but like for Vintage Sampler, for example, the name escaped me. I had to go look up from last week's notes what it was. And I show that just about every week. There is a slight amount of background noise. I live in a community. I can't control the landscaping, and they seem to do my area of it on Thursdays and Fridays. So I can hear the leaf blower going right now. I'm not sure if it's coming in on your end, but if you do get kind of that low constant droning of the leaf blower, that's what it is. Yesterday they were full blown mowing like my yard and around here, so luckily that's over. I think they're the street behind me right now, so we'll just deal with it. It's crazy though, isn't it? Something like that, if you hear that all day, it's like almost stressful, because it's that kind of low, weird noise. I find, at least, it's not a comforting noise for me. I'm not sure if I'm the only one in that. But let's persevere and move on. So I actually have a new start. And it's funny because my notes are already incomplete. I don't have the fact that this is a new start in my notes, but that's okay. I know it is, especially given how much we have left. All right, first one, April's Daisy from Cottage Garden. Maybe if I just get going in the stitching, I'll get into my groove here. I'm clearly off this morning. April's Daisy, I am doing all 12 of these, which maybe I'll regret at the end, because I'm finding that, for example, like monthly series, I've learned maybe that doing them if they're repetitive, just doesn't work for me because I kind of get bored. So these are each different, but they all have the outer border, they all have the words. So we'll see how I feel at the end of this year when it comes time to revisit all of them to finish them. But for now, I'm just happy starting them. So this is the April version that I started for this year, or this month, I should say. And I wasn't sure the color I was going to use, and I think I hemmed and I hawed, and I ended up with this one. And I had started stitching the P and the R, that color, and I wasn't sure. I didn't have much, and I am okay with admitting I didn't make the right choice for colors. In fact, there's one project right now sitting on some fabric that it does need to be stitched. I haven't stitched it, but I'm contemplating redoing it because I'm just not sure that color is doing it justice. So I'm okay with having to restart if I have to. And I wasn't sure on this one, but then I added some more and I like it. I think in person it shows up a little bit better. Maybe, oh, there we go. If we come closer. On this color, this is an 18 count light Seaglass from To Die For Fabrics. It's a beautiful color, and because there's lighter blues in the words, I didn't feel like I could use a blue, because you know blue is always my default. But I think the flowers will look good on this, and the white does show up. You can see it in person fine because there is a decent amount of white on this. So that of course is also something you want to think about when you're picking your fabrics, right? So I hemmed and I hawed, I did some more, and I think I like it. I think too, once I add the other colors in, especially the yellows, I think it's gonna look pretty on this. I think it's gonna be fine. I did have to change one of the greens. So it was charted for, let me see if I can reach it. I find in this series, I am having to change some of the greens quite a bit. I think it's because, you know, you see it on this and you see it on this. It's two very different colors, right? This is a very, very neutral, probably a gray, versus this is obviously quite colorful. And a lot of the greens, they don't kind of show up the way that you would want them to. So the charted, what you're seeing right here was charted for 732. And I was finding that just too, it's not yellow. I don't know. There was something at it that just was not working for me at all. So I ended up using 471 instead. And I really felt like that showed up much better on this fabric. What's funny is 471 might be charted in some of the other patterns, and I think I've had to change it to something different because in other colors it's almost too yellow in other fabrics. So it's really kind of funny. So I did make that one change, which again is also not on my notes, and I do want to make sure I put that in the description box. I really do my best. If I've changed colors, I do want to try to put it in the description box so that if you're ever wondering, it would be there. So I took this one away and I use this one. Now that I've shown you, I'm actually going to put it up here to remind me to put that away into my DMCs. And I'm going to use that instead. And have started using that. And I think I like it. The other green, which is the part of the bottom border and of course the stems of the flowers, that's the other green. So I think those two, that was the other thing I wanted to, because the bottom border is a combination of the two greens. So I needed to make sure they also went well together. And I felt this one also went better on this color fabric than the other one. Otherwise, I am, as far as I know right now, keeping all of the colors. I haven't changed anything else out. I don't necessarily foresee myself changing anything else out either. So that's what we have so far. And again, each of these will get started each month. And then, you know, they get put away once the month ends, unless it can be used for a prompt of some sort. And, you know, next year, then I'll revisit them and see if I can maybe get some finishes on them. If I worked exclusively on them in the course of a month, I could get them done. But you know me, I flip-flop all sorts of projects, so it will just have to wait until next year. And I did start November and December. I don't think I started October's hazy. I don't know if but I know for sure I started November and December last year. So when I get to those months, I'll already be revisiting started projects. So we'll see how far I can get then. That'll give me some sort of idea type of thing. Alrighty, next. Next was a start and a finish. I really wanted to fully finish this one. But again, life happened, and it just, you know how when you're a kid and you fill your plate and you think you're going to eat all that, and your parents will say, or somebody will say, oh, your eyes were bigger than your belly, right? Well, my crafting eyes were bigger than my crafting time. I really thought I could get a lot more done than I did. I don't know what I was thinking. But my start and finish was, and I don't have the pattern because it's finished. Well, I do have it as a digital. I can certainly show you that. Our friend Helen D, the fabulous Helen D, who has a fantastic Flosstube. If you are not watching it, I'm going to put her down below. I'll put her down below anyway because she's the designer of this. Put out her very first pattern for sale. If you go to her Flosstube, in her description box, she has a link to quite a few, I don't even know how many at this point, free patterns. And she has designed one that is, I believe, exclusively right now. I don't know if it'll always be or what, on Cobweb Corner. I'll link that down below underneath the description for this piece. And I don't know if there's a paper pattern version. There might be. I got the PDF. I wanted it right away. I knew I wanted to do it right away. And I was able to finish this week. So let me show you this piece first, because there is, Helen did 2 different finishes on it. So I wanted to show you that. So this is called Flamingo Frolic. And if you watch, I think her latest video, she shows these up close and personal. She has one where you can do a floral sort of background, and then she has one where you just do the flamingo, and that's what I did. So here's my flamingo. This is an 18 count Seafoam. It's by Fabrics by Stephanie, and it is gorgeous. I love this. It's green, but it's very subtle. I need some more of this in my life. I don't know if white would work on this, because I'm thinking of some projects that I would want to do, but they do have white. I'd have to do a test on it. But look at, I mean, there is a tiny bit of white on the beak there, but that's not enough to give me a sample of white. But look at how those other colors look so nice. I knew the pink would pop off of this is almost mint, but a pale mint, I guess I'd say. And it just pops. Now, I did goof up. So these are just straight lines here on the flamingo. And it's funny because without thinking, because I do a loop start, I do 2 strands on my 18 count always. But you test it out. If you prefer one strand and the look of one strand, by all means, that's the way to go for you. I just happen to like, for me, the coverage of the 2. And I'm not so worried about wonky stitches because my stitches would never hold up to scrutiny, and I'm okay with that. So I automatically in my head did the loop start, and I started to do the long stitches. And then there's just the 3. It's just the counting over. But then I was like, oh, Laura, you silly. It was, you backstitch usually with 1. So I pulled it all out and I did it all with the 1, tied it off. And then I was coming up here to make sure that that backstitch was the same color. And don't you know, in the instructions, it says to use 2 strands for that. And I said, oh, well, it only has the 1. I think it looks fine. But moral of the story, look at the designer's instructions rather than just doing it your own way. Well, you know what? I did it my own way and it's fine. But that's what it looks like. I am going to make a summer ornament out of it and put it on my Hirschner's tree for the summer. I don't know if I will do it as an oval, in which case I need to look how to do that. I guess, kind of like the, like sort of kind of lacing, or I might do a rectangle. I haven't really decided yet which shape I'll do. What I want to do is I want to back it with a scallop of the same shape. And I almost sure I'd have a scallop rectangle. I think that would work. You know, I don't know that. I'm just assuming that because some of my rectangles are a little bit thinner. I'm gonna have to see. But my ovals, I don't know if my ovals would be this tall and thin, or if they're that tall, if they're wider. I don't know. We'll see. The scallop part may not work, but that would be what I'd really like to do if I could. So starting to finish a fun little stitch. I actually did some of this in the car. So it's a great car stitch, FYI, if you wanted it. And easy to read, very easy to stitch. And I really enjoyed it. So if you like flamingos or you want some summer kind of pieces around, I mean, Helen finished these as a pillow or a stand-up. Super cute. Lots of options. So I will link that down below. Cobweb Corner is where you can get it. And hopefully, I will get my act together. It'll come down to how much trouble I have finding sizes of things, whether or not, you know, I'm gonna put that aside because I might want to show you with something later on. I'll just pull out the piece. I don't need all of the other stuff. I'll put that there. I'll put that down here. It depends on how much trouble I have trying to find the backing piece, if you see that next week, or if I have to really take a step back, take that out of my head and figure out what I would like to do. I have other shapes, so I might be able to, if the scallop doesn't work, I might be able to find a different shape. Maybe I do the layer with the flamingo as a rectangle, and then if something else can be layered, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, next. I pulled out, I was hoping to get more done on this one than I did. I started at the beginning of the week and it just never saw its way back into my stitching rotation. This is from Jan Hicks Creates Carolyn's Balloons Winter. I really would like to get this one finished, and then I am going to take a balloon break because I started this one immediately after finishing the autumn balloons. I love them, but I just need a balloon break. I have still this balloon to finish, which I didn't work on this week at all. And then the town, which I think those are so cute, the little town parts. So I did work on that, and just didn't get as much finished as I thought I would, because it's pretty easy for the most part doing that part. You know, you're doing houses, but they're tiny houses, which is always good because they get done faster. So I will continue. I will keep this in somewhat of a rotation because I think I'd like to just get it finished this year rather than leaving it linger. So we'll see what happens. But there it is. This is done on 18 count Lady of the Lake by Fabrics by Stephanie. Oh, isn't this a beautiful fabric? I love, love, love this. Love this. The other thing I might do, so you know I stitched autumn on kind of just like a blue and white sort of fabric. This one, and it was more lighter blue. This one is definitely the deeper blue with some hints of pink and things like that. So what I want to do is I want to use both this and the other fabric for spring and summer. And what I thought I would do is autumn and spring would be on the same, summer and winter would be on the same. Because I thought, you know, they'd both have that kind of idea and feel for the colors and the fabric. But I think what I want to do, maybe wait. So spring is out. I'm going to show you that. I did get that. I finally got my market order. So I'm going to show you that this week. And I did get that. I might wait till the last one is out because maybe I want to do autumn and summer in the same and winter and spring in the same. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. So if I'm taking a balloon break, I might just wait till the last two are out, make a final decision with floss tosses. But I certainly have enough fabric for this one, and I'm almost sure I have enough fabric in the one that I did autumn in. So when this one gets finished, I will show you both autumn and winter together. Lots of fun. Really like it. Some of these balloons you do really have to stop and think. There's a lot of counting. They do sometimes go over 2 pages. So there's a little bit, even if you did it digitally, I suppose you'd still have to really pay attention to your counting. Down here is a little bit easier to kind of space while you're stitching, while still paying attention, right? So, but yeah, it's coming along. I am not stitching, there's a whole bunch of like stray white stitches, you know, to signify, you know, snow or whatever. I'm not going to do those. And so in some cases, like for example, I think this snowflake, I moved it, or one of these, a few of these I've moved slightly because she charted them obviously in relation to those stray white stitches. And that would leave big gaps in some places. So I just kind of moved them. I'm trying to think. I'm looking at it. I think like this one got moved up a bit. You know, I just kind of moved them a little bit slightly here and there. So they'll look slightly different if you were to see mine, and my finish will not have all of those stray white stitches on them. I get what she was trying to do, but it's funny, the more and more I stitch, some of the stray kind of stitches, whether they're small little motifs or just single, I start to think about, as I'm looking at it as a whole, does that add to it for me or does it not? And I'm finding it generally does not add to it for me. And so I have been having a habit of leaving those off. That just happens to be my preference, because you know I kind of scale things back a little bit when it comes to the stitching, among other things. Alrighty, next is my, oops, I've got a lot on here, so it's making a mess here. Next is my 25/7 piece, and it is On the Beach from Stitchrovia. I didn't do every single day this week. I did not bring this with me actually, because there's so many color changes. It certainly wouldn't have been a car stitch. And even, you know, we were staying at a hotel, and I tried to concentrate on simple things that I brought with me, as opposed to, you know, more elaborate. And this isn't a difficult stitch, but it just has a ton of different colors and things like that. So you're not going to see as much progress as if I had done a full week where I gave it 25 minutes every day. But that's what it looks like. And you're going to see this week, I'm working on the water, and I have almost that page done. There's where the page break is, I still have stuff. But I decided this week, mentally, I would do over here. So I did do the top of the water there. And so that's what you're going to see. And here it is. So this is it as a whole right now, as it stands. This is an 18 count beach sand from To Die For Fabrics. And so that's it fully. I'm just going to fold it over because I didn't do anything on the top. That's where we are. And I went back and forth. I did some over here, but I can generally it's probably 35 minutes-ish versus 25. But I've been kind of aiming for 3 strands a day with it. And that, depending on the counting, is probably about 35 minutes-ish type of thing. So I generally, what I've been doing too is I'll pick a symbol, whatever color floss it is for that day, and I'll do 3 strands just of that, because okay, here's a new color introduced, a lighter blue, but down here you're going to have just back and forth these 2 blues. So I can easily find 3 different sections to stitch off from that color, and then the next day. Now over here we're going to have another kind of sunbather in the water. So that might be something I jump into maybe this week. So I'm going to use this at least for the month of April as my 25/7. We'll see at the end of April, maybe I take a break and then join back in June or something. It'd be nice to get this one finished by sometime this summer. But it's a lot of stitching because this is intense and this is all full coverage. But I think maybe for a change of scenery, so to speak, with the colors I'd be using and what I'd be doing, I might do that. And that would also ground some of the other parts where I can see where things start and stop. So we'll continue with this one. It's so fun. I love it. I love the bright colors. I just love how fun it is. You know me, and it's fun. I love the beach. I'm not a sunbather. I don't go to the beach and stay there. I actually love the beach at sunrise and sunset. So when we would take the kids well, when they were little, we would obviously, well, we mixed it all around. But my favorite times at the beach, if I'm going to go away, now I live at the beach, so I can go anytime I want. I like to go first thing in the morning when the sun's coming up. If I can really get myself up and out of bed, I love to see the sunrise at the beach. And then at sunset when it's cooler too. So those are the times that you'll find me at the beach. You generally at, say, 1 o'clock in the afternoon would not find me at the beach. It's just too hot. I am too pale and my skin would just burn. And obviously I have to watch for sun issues. I do have my aunt did pass away from skin cancer. So it obviously is something that, you know, you want to think about. And I can only sunscreen so much. So anyway, I do love the beach, just not sunbathing at the beach, I guess is what I would say. I just love all the other aspects of it. All right, this next one I pulled out for my Zoom call. I did a Zoom last Friday, which was so needed and welcome. Thank you, Beth. Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, has a Facebook group called Craft and Books, and she hosts different Zoom calls at different times. And I was leaving on Saturday, so it was a good distraction for me on Friday night. And I worked on Black Vintage Sampler. And it's getting, well, this is as wide as it's going to be. It's just, I need to cut off this extra fabric so I can hold it properly. Oh, and I just folded it a little too much. Okay, there we go. I don't have it down where, you know, some people have the perfect thumbnail where they're holding it and it looks great and whatever. I don't have that. Let's do it this way. That looks a little less awkward for me. Maybe because I'm wearing a sleeve that is going to hang down. But that's what it looks like as it stands. When I get it all stitched, I'll probably have to stay back here because it is quite long. But it is not, that's as wide as it's going to be. 18 count rainy day from Bestitchme. I say it every week. Love, love, love this fabric color, especially for this piece. I am using Anchor Black. I can't necessarily articulate why I prefer Anchor Black to 310. In my mind, it does fuller coverage. I don't know if that's true in reality or not, but for me, if I was doing a pattern, and I have some 310 right there, that's my 310 bin. If I'm doing a small pattern and it calls for 310, I'll use it. But when I have big sections or something like this that is exclusively just the one color, I do prefer the Anchor. And I can get the spools at my Michaels if I needed to. But every time I place a 1, 2, 3 stitch order, I just order, you know, a couple skeins. And so now I have a nice good stash of Anchor Black in case I need it. I order a couple skeins of Anchor Black, and somebody had said needles, and so I do a package of needles every time I do an order too. So this way I will hopefully not run out of needles anytime soon. So that's what it is. And I did, you know, I'm not even sure I did more house. I really did down here. I wanted to kind of get to, that's not even the halfway point, but I kind of wanted to, I want to get this maybe finished off, so to speak. And then I don't necessarily think this house may be finished before I really dig into, because, you know, it's fun doing some of those other parts. But you know, I just kind of go back and forth. In the house, I do a strand or two or whatever, a section, and then I go to something else. So that's where it is. Now, if you'd like to see a couple different versions of this, I've told you this before, Mary's Stitching Corner. Mary started this last year for her birthday, as her birthday start. And so she is much farther along than I am. And so if you'd like to see her version of it, I can't remember what color fabric Mary is using. It's looking beautiful. Mary does beautiful stitching. She's a wonderful Flosstube to watch if you're not watching her. And then Kelly from Pages 3 Stitches, and I will put her down below as well, started this piece. And she has a phenomenal eye. She's a quilter. So her eye for color is just fantastic. I love how she looks at fabrics and flosses and comes up with some beautiful ideas. So when she saw this piece, her mind immediately went to kind of that steampunk vibe, which I could totally get. It's kind of like that era, right? Steampunk is kind of, I don't know if I'd say Victorian, but you know what I mean. And so her fabric choice and her flosses choice is going to reflect that. I mean, it's not like there's gears and, you know, all the different kind of stuff that you'll see in steampunk generally, but they do have a specific color scheme, and she is doing that. And she started with the horse. So she started right in the middle, and it is phenomenal. And it is so cool to see how, so Mary, myself, and Kelly, same exact pattern, 3 different takes on it, and it is so cool to see. And that's what's so much fun about cross stitch. I mean, any crafting, you can do that, really, right? You know, paper crafting, you can take one stamp and 5 different people will have 5 different cards that they make, say, because they have just a totally different vibe and whatever. But the same thing with cross stitch. You take this one pattern, and then all of a sudden everybody kind of puts their own spin on it, and it's just so neat. And maybe you don't like how I'm doing it, but maybe you'll like how one of them are doing it. And it's just kind of amazing how you can find what really speaks to you just by all the different types of takes that people do on pieces. So I would really suggest you check out both of them and see their work. Not only is this piece beautiful, but so many of their items are so lovely. And I really enjoy watching both of them. So, alrighty. Next, I am behind though, because again, I wasn't watching Flosstube this weekend. Jardin Prive, and this is my summer Quaker. You'll remember I finished winter. Here are the 4 of them. I'm not stitching them like this. I'm stitching them each singly. I have finished spring, and I have finished winter, and I have not started autumn or fall, whatever you call it, yet at all. I'm not even 100% sure on the fabric color yet for that one. I figured I'd finish this one first, and then I'd go from there. As a reminder, they are all stitched with 823 DMC, so it's a deep, deep navy on bright fabrics that reflect the season. So this one obviously reflects summer. And oh, it's actually getting a little bit of a glare. I really wanted to, I went out, it's a little warm up here because, well, we're getting that crazy like summer-like weather for 3 days, whatever, you know, so the house is warm. We haven't turned the air on because next week it's going to be 50 again, right? So up here, even if the air is on, it gets warmer up here because it just doesn't work well upstairs. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to go out into my porch because it was about 63 degrees out there. So it was beautiful. It was nice, but it's such a sunny day today. And I tried sitting in different spots, and either it would blow things out from the background or the sun would be kind of right on me, and it was just blowing everything out. So I almost was able to film down in the screen porch. Well, it's kind of sort of still a screen porch, but it's windowed now. My 3-season porch. But it just wouldn't have been enjoyable for you because it would have been hard to see things. So we're going to try not to blow this out. I don't even have the sun shining directly. It's indirect light right now. This is 18 count My Sunshine from Bestitchme. And I finished this right here. This was a car stitch. I finished this because that bottom part, this gave me fits. I counted wrong multiple times. Had to pull out because everything, you can't fudge that. I mean, if I misplaced that piece or that, you know, I mean, I can fudge it, right? I couldn't everything is equal and matching. So it just wasn't worth it to me to do the mental gymnastics to do that. I just pulled it out multiple times. And then I did all of this section right here. So, and I think all of the little bits up to here, all of the little extras are all done. So everything now that I'm working on is down this way. This most definitely should be finished by the end of this summer. And then I can work on the last piece. And I would like to have these as kind of a collection in the scrapbook. I think it'll be really nice because they're all matching with the same floss with the color of fabric to reflect the season. So that's what it looks like. If you like Quakers, they're a lot of fun to stitch. I'm a fan of Jardin Prive. I have 2 of them. I have the hard copy. 2 of them I have the PDF. I like them both ways. This I make a working copy for anyway, as opposed to, you know, marking it up. So, you know, I work on mostly working copies. Every once in a while with some patterns. I just, you know, I haven't bothered to make them. Our printer can copy, so I just have to bring the pattern down to the copy machine, the copy part of it, and then mark it all up. So it's, you can't read it by the time I'm done, but it's nice while I'm doing it. Alrighty, next. This one's called Midnight Watch from Blackbird Designs. Sarah Stitches is also stitching this with me, and we are both just stitching this section. We are not doing the alphabet or the outer border. We are using 2 different fabric colors though. So again, that's kind of cool to see Sarah's and to see mine. And they're gonna look different because of that. And here it is. This is an 18 count Bewitched from To Die For Fabrics. And my entire goal when I picked my fabric color was I wanted the moon to pop. The moon, and obviously by extension the cat, to pop. And I really think I accomplished that. I did have to change the, you're gonna see, so the greenery here, the overriding green, that was charted as 730, and it was a color that just did not, it blended in. It was just kind of too, it was obviously a green, but it blended too much into the purple. And so I changed it with 523, and I like that better. Just because the lighter is gonna pop on this. If I did it, for example, on a neutral like that, the charted color would have been fine. And the moon is a mixture. I did, they, you know, they have charted as with variegated over dyed flosses, but they also, for the moon, gave a DMC alternative that was a blend of 2 colors, and I took their suggestion for the blend. So the moon is a blend of 2 different shades of DMC. And I am just working on here. This is again right now with the house, it's kind of a good no-brainer sort of piece. When I get back to the floral part of it, there'll be a bit more counting, but this part's pretty good. And I almost got the door done, but I kind of got tired and ran out of time. So at this point, I'll probably finish the house before I go back to doing some of the other stuff on the side. This side has 3 stars. And what I'll do is I'll do everything but those stars. And I want to see what it looks like and decide, does that area need something? And if it does, I'll stitch the stars. If I like it without it, then I won't stitch the stars. And the stars are the same kind of primitive look that those and what's on the door. So, you know, obviously it would tie in with those, but I'm just not sure that section's going to need it because I'm not doing a border. So we'll see how that plays out, kind of thing. Alrighty. Next, I did take this with me because, and ironically though, I don't think I worked on it while I was away, but I thought there's good chunks of color. It's Resting Beach Face from Hands on Design. I ended up working on that when I got back. But I got a little chunk done. Now somebody had suggested with the, because I talked about how I wasn't going to stitch the white where the words are. Somebody has stitched this, and I can't remember what color they used, but they only used 1 strand, and they really liked how that looked. So I'm going to keep that that suggestion in the back of my mind. I'm going to stitch the whole thing without those fill-ins. See what it looks like. If I like it the way it is, I'm keeping it. If I think maybe it needs a little something, I am definitely going to try that suggestion of the 1 strand, not the 2. And maybe that will, because I feel like the 2 strands would just, everything would be just too crowded in. But here it is. Isn't it cute? It's a small design. It's, you know, you look at these and sometimes, I mean, obviously it's a small chart and you think, okay, that's small, but you don't necessarily realize the exact sizing till you stitch it. And of course I use 18 count, so that makes things smaller sometimes. This is obviously the width because you can see both sides of the border at this point. And you know, it'll probably go down to like here. I'm not 100% sure. This might be cute with the final size. If it's not too big, it could be cute with the flamingo on my summer tree, or it'll get scrapbooked. I'm just throwing that out there right now. I had planned to scrapbook it all along, but maybe size-wise, it might be cute. We'll see. It might be a little too big, but that's what it looks like. So I finished all of this. I did all of the hat, and I did the stars. Now, I did notice, and it kind of threw me for a loop, because this is a 2021 piece, but one of the DMCs suggested is no longer, as far as I could tell, it's not available anymore. At least it wasn't at my Michael's, and when I looked in my DMC chart, it had that little star next to it, so I don't know if it's been discontinued. And whatever DMC suggested as the alternative is what I used for that. Because it was funny, because I went to go stitch the pink part, and I'm looking in my flosses, and I'm like, that color's not there. Why is it not there? This has been kitted up for a while. Because so I had to then kind of go backwards and say, oh, that's why. So just as a little FYI, the pink, I had to do the DMC suggestion as a change, because as far as I can see, it looks like it might not be available anymore. Simple change though, really. And if you don't have the card, I am sure if you Googled it, I'm sure somewhere on Google there is a listing of the alternatives for the pieces that aren't available anymore. I have just a couple more, I promise. Alrighty. This was another one that there's blocks of color with. I didn't get as much done as I wanted to, but I brought Ireland with me. This is from Vlada Xstitch, and I'm not going to stitch the word. And I'm thinking about changing the green. We'll see though, once I put it on this fabric. Here it looks brighter, but when I pulled the flosses, they just seemed a little bit not vibrant enough. So we'll see. Not even that. No, they're more that yellow green. And I wasn't quite loving that vibe, but we'll see. So here we go. This is done in an 18 count champagne from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. I wanted a very pale sort of yellow, and this is quite pale. It's yellow, almost on the beige tones, but it is yellow. More cream tones with a yellow kind of tint to it. But I wanted that as the background. I thought it would show these colors really well. And I continued down here. I'm almost at the point where I'm going to start stitching the clouds. So that will introduce the white, and then the white with some more blue, and then there's the heavy touch of green. So we'll see from there. So I'm not 100% sure what this will look like in the end and how much it will deviate from the original picture. We'll see, but it's fun to stitch. And this one I find a working copy is really necessary, because I stitched Delaware, and I tried to do it without making a working copy and marking things off. And it just got too confusing as you added more and more colors. You know, the top chunks, sure, because that's all one color. And then, but then as you come down and, you'll have the greens and you'll have the cliffs, and it's all going to be a bunch of different colors. And I would just completely confuse myself if I don't do a working copy. And I did want to mention, so Vlada Xstitch for a long time has been on Etsy and still is, but they also have their own website, which is where I got this picture from. And I'm not 100% sure all of their patterns are on here, but quite a few of them. And I believe on Etsy it is the same thing, but up top here, I don't know when it ends. It just says limited time offer, buy 2+ patterns and you get 50% off. So, if I'm shopping, I went away from the Ireland one. If I search Ireland, for example, there's 4 different pieces. There's part of a set, Ireland, a circle, and Northern Ireland. So and this circle is actually the Northern Ireland piece too. So for example, right now it's $4.60. So if you buy 2+, it would be 50% off. So if there's any that you were thinking of getting, it'll be linked down below. I believe last time I showed this piece, I did link both their Etsy shop and their standalone shop. And I'm almost sure their Etsy shop, you do get 50% off as well. Just understand that Etsy takes big, big enough cuts from people, which is why if they get a chance, they eventually do transition to a standalone. Etsy, you get the built-in traffic, so you'll get more people, but Etsy charges you to make a listing. Etsy charges you a percentage of your sales. Etsy, every time you relist one, they charge you, etc., etc. The charges are slightly different when you have your own standalone. All right. Last thing is From the Heart, Needleart by Wendy, Quaker Blooms. This is actually one I haven't made a working copy of yet, to be honest with you, because it's different chunks of color, and so I haven't found it difficult to do. Now, if you remember last time I showed this, I did a complete color conversion, and I changed every single one of the colors. The colors are beautiful here. Obviously, I wouldn't have chosen it otherwise. But I put this on a light blue, and the colors just didn't pop in the same way for me. So it's 5 colors. I changed them all. I want to block this for a minute. So this is where I was. This is an 18 count Summer Storm from To Die For Fabrics. It's a very lovely light blue. I don't remember how white would show up on it. It might be a little, for winter pieces, it might be a little bit too light for them. I'm not 100% sure. You'd have to play around with it. But look at how these colors pop. Now, I was stitching this and I loved everything, but I kept coming back to the pink. And it just looked a little too fluorescent against the deeper red and the hunter kind of green, right? So I played around and I went to my DMC card and I basically looked to see what pinks in my mind would work. And I pulled maybe like 3 or 4, threw them on top of the floss. And what I ended up choosing was 3733. So that's what it looks like. And I wanted to stitch that before I pulled these out because I wanted to make sure I was happy with it. And I think I am. It plays off of the deep red. That's almost like a garnet kind of red. I think it's 816. I'll have the information down below. And I do have to change last week's video. I'll change the pink out because obviously I don't want to give the wrong information. But against these deeper colors, I felt this pink worked better than that pink. So I have some pulling out to do, which, I mean, I pulled out originally all of the original colors. So this piece is going to take a lot longer than I anticipated. So that's what it looks like. I really like the changes. It works for this color fabric. Maybe it wouldn't work. Maybe it probably might be too bright for you if you did it on just a very neutral sort of color. But if you are interested, I will put the color changes down below and I will change out the pink. And maybe you prefer that kind of pink. For my eye, I kept going to it and something just felt wrong. And I'm learning to, I might not be able to tell you why, but I'm just trusting my instincts with it sometimes. And if just something feels off with a color, I'm learning not to just ignore it because I think it will keep bothering me. And I was going to just ignore it, but the more I added, the more it just wasn't working for me. So that's why I did change that up. This is a wonderful, fun, lovely little stitch if you are looking for kind of like a seasonal Quakery kind of thing. And here you could obviously go much less bright, a little bit more muted if you prefer that look. So there we go. That was my stitching for the week. I got more than I anticipated, just because of the circumstances of the week. Probably not as much as I might have. I think on Sunday, I put in 94 stitches total, if I remember correctly, because the number just I was looking at my book when I was getting the pieces ready, and so that showed up for it. But so, some weeks are more than others, right? But I feel like I touched a lot of projects. I was looking to switch around. I wasn't necessarily looking to get lost in just one project. And it worked well for me. So that's that. Alrighty, so plans. Obviously my 25/7 piece. I'm not sure of my other pieces, which ones will continue this week. I do want to do, there is a pop-up challenge in the magazine monthly cross stitch challenge. And I will put that information down below of, when I list Facebook group mentioned or whatever. They are doing, starting on Monday, so it's the 17th through the 24th. The 24th, which I think is, it's either Saturday or Sunday. I'm not sure. But Saturday is, I believe, if I remember looking at my calendar, Saturday is Earth Day. So they wanted to do like an Earth Day pop-up challenge. So basically pick a piece that has something to do with Earth Day, the Earth, right? Anything kind of, and it doesn't have to be a magazine piece, and to put in 500 stitches or 5 hours, you know, so depending on whichever way you kind of keep track of things. And so I think I'm going to do the Earth Laughs from Jan Hicks. It's a wonderful piece. It's a beautiful piece. And I think that would get me to do 500 stitches this week on it, which, because it's one strand, you know me, and the one strand doesn't always go together. So it's a good way to get me going on that. So you should see that next week, hopefully. I suppose if the challenge is through the weekend, you may not see all 500 stitches then it might take me through the weekend to do them. But we'll see. It's already out of my list of projects, and it's already over in the area where I put things that I know that week I want to stitch. So it's already been put in the queue, so to speak. That's the one hard and fast, besides my 25/7, that I think I am going to do. Otherwise, I don't know what'll happen. All right, I had a piece of Happy Mail. Christiane thought of me and sent me this adorable little guy. Isn't that adorable? So, so cute. So this is going to go up in the craft room. Thank you so much. I love it. I love the nose. And I really appreciate you thinking of me. That was quite nice of you. I was thinking, so it does have like a little hanger. So Mo has not, and part of it is I just, and he's been busy, so I haven't pushed it. There's two different shelves that I want him to put up in here. They're just the single shelf from IKEA, you know, so I can, there are a few pieces I want to frame and those types of things I want to put on the shelves. And I wonder if I can put underneath, like, and probably white, because the shelves are white, and they're, as you can tell by most of the furniture, it's all kind of white in here to balance off of the, that looks darker than, it's a medium gray. It's not as dark as what's looking behind me at the moment. So everything contrasts well. But I'm thinking like if I could put underneath the shelves like some hooks where I can hang different things. I have several things that people have given me that are hangable, and I would love to be able to hang them along the bottom. So if you have a shelf somewhere, now obviously if it's in the middle of your living room, I'm sure you don't do this. But say for example, if it is in your craft room or in another area of the house where you don't necessarily care if there's things hanging. Has anybody done anything where you put something underneath the shelving? And all these things would be light, so it's not like they would be heavy weighing down the shelf. I mean, you could make banners and hang them from the shelf too, right? Depending on how you have the hooks put there. But I'm just curious if you have, what did you use kind of thing. But thank you. This is so super cute, and I really appreciate you thinking of me. And a friend did send me some Santa ideas. Thank you so much, friend, for that. I'm going to look and see if any of them will work. So I appreciate you taking the time and effort to do that. And then I do have another stitchy friend that was thinking of me this weekend. She does know what I went through this weekend, and she wanted to send me a little pick-me-up, and I just haven't chosen 100%. I know one piece I want. So once I choose those, and I get them, I'll be able to show you what I got from that stitchy kindness. So thank you. You know who you are. Alrighty, shopping. I actually do have quite a bit of shopping to show you today. Usually, you know what? And I didn't even pull out. I had fabrics that I wanted to show you from To Die For, but I have too much stuff. So we'll show you that another week, because not every week is like this. It just so happened that I got several, you know what it was partly? Well, the market order, which came in, you know, I had no idea when that was coming in. But then leading up, you know how when you have things that you don't really want to do, and sometimes you have whatever, that nervous energy, and I did a bit of shopping to kind of get rid of the nervous energy. I did pick up, so Megan is going to be, once she graduates, she'll be living in Philadelphia, living and working in Philly. And so I picked this up from Awesome Pattern Studio, and it is, you know, kind of one of those cities, and this is Philadelphia. I did look, I stitched Amsterdam from Satsuma Street, and I also have Dublin and London, which I want to stitch at some point. I looked at Satsuma, but she does not have Philly, because I love her stuff. I would have gotten it from her. But when I searched, I saw this one from Awesome Pattern Studio, and I thought it was lovely. So I picked that one up. So that will get stitched. I think I want to start that one sooner rather than later. And I'll pull the flosses, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it on kind of like a light blue so that you get that kind of blue sky background kind of feeling. So I picked that up. Then I did an order for some, paper crafting kind of items, but will also be good for, some of the pieces will also be good for my scrapbooks, my stitching scrapbooks. So if you are new, a lot of my pieces, once they're stitched, I am now scrapbooking them and putting them in a scrapbook so that they'll be all in one spot. So I went shopping. There is a place on Etsy called Wawa Stationery. I believe it's out of New York. And I did a little shopping, super fast shipping, and everything came quickly, and I was really pleased with them. I picked up a couple. For those of you who use washi tape, there's a lot of different places, and you're not gonna be able to see. Whoa, with these, you can't see the whole piece of them because they're rolled up right now. Washi tape can come in like scenes almost, and that's what these are. Now, they sell what's called washi and PET tape. I had no idea what the difference is, and so I sent them a note, and I said, you know, before I order, what are they? And they were very nice, gave me this wonderful explanation, sent me a picture of what each of them would look like with the same design, because you can get a lot of these in either washi or PET, although a lot of the PETs were out of stock. So I was really impressed with that too, what their response was for customer service. And so I ended up getting the washi ones, but, and washi are generally a little clearer, the really quick and easy answer, but I thought these would be really cute. What I bought would either work in my first scrapbooking some of my pieces. So if I wanted a kind of bottom border, or depending on what the piece is, a different type of border, or I also keep a stitching journal. Well, it's kind of like it's a planner. I shouldn't say that journal. I shouldn't call it that. It's a planner, and it's mostly for stitching, but I put everything in there. I put like water intake, I put what I exercise, I write like just personal things, you know, if there was things going on during the week or whatever, my lists of to do, some of it has to do with crafting, some of it is just personal. So it's a catch-all. So I figure anything that I can't use for the scrapbook would certainly go great in the journal or the planner. Then the other thing I got, and when I do these scrapbooks, I am not going to put the information of the designer and the pattern on the front. I'm going to put it on the back. And I just thought rather than just cutting out a piece of cardstock, which I could, I wanted to do it kind of fun. And so I picked up some pieces, like these would be really cool kind of on the background. This is like I could actually even cut these papers in half, depending if there's not much I wanted to say. If I wanted to write some notes about the thing, I could. I also picked up, they were quite affordable. I got library cards from Amazon, like a packet of, I don't know, 100, 200, whatever it was. And I want to tea stain them. I haven't tea stained paper in a long time. So I need to look up a tutorial just to make sure I'm doing it right. I've done it ages and ages ago, and it's a lot of fun to be able to do that. So I thought they would be fun, tea stained, and then also on the back of my pieces as well. Just something a little different. So I picked up those. This is a set of 30, I believe. I don't remember how many is on here. But again, I could cut those in half and I could get twice as much. And then I'd have all those library cards. I picked up a whole bunch of, now these were washi stickers, but a whole bunch of different stickers. Again, either planner or scrapbook. And then I picked up, these were kind of cool. They're little, they look like little tickets. Some of them have like the ticket stub up top. Some of them are just different shapes. And they're affordable. They're affordably priced. You get, how many pieces does it say? Oh, it's not in English, so I can't remember. I don't remember how many pieces you get. But I got botanist, butterfly, and fragrance, which would be floral. And so you get an idea of what they look like. Isn't that cool? So I picked those up as well. I thought that would be kind of fun. And again, they can either go in the scrapbooks or they certainly would go in the planners. So that was that order. I had been meaning to. They had been on my Etsy wish list for a long time. And I just hadn't done anything about it. And so I said, you know, let's just do it, because if I want to decorate things, I need the materials. So I did. Then way back when, I asked you about felts, and there's multiple places that you all had recommended, and I haven't tried them all yet, but this was the first one I tried. And so I just wanted to show you. I got different sets, but I wanted to show you the pinks for a reason. I would like to layer my Flamingo on one of these pinks. So this is my least, I think, option. Now so it's called Benzie Felt, and I'll link them below. They have 3 different types of felt. One, the really, really, really thin stuff that you could get, you know, for kids' crafts and things like that. This is a wool blend. So it's not just straight wool. It's a blend of some sort. So it is thinner. It is not as thick as, say, your wool, but obviously it's cheaper too. And I wanted to see what their felt was like. So rather than really investing, because I do want some of the wool, it will hold up stronger because it is thicker. But these 2 are my options. This one I feel like might be a bit too dark, but I don't know yet. Once I have this one wrapped around whatever size I'm going to do, that one might be too light though. I don't know. Once it's wrapped around the board, however I'm going to wrap it, then I'll place it back and forth. This one might end up winning with the choice. So I did pick up, and I picked up some other colors too, just to get the free shipping. You know how that is. Sometimes you have to weigh, okay, I have to spend X, Y, Z in order to get free shipping, or I just pay shipping and I don't pay quite as much, right? So there was that. And then my market order. So I picked up Classic Colorworks has, and I'm not going to list where I got my market order from. It was just a disappointing experience. Not even the length of time. Put that aside, but there was some other things that they said and how I felt treated when I asked for some things that it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. And I was on Etsy for over 10 years. I know what you can do on Etsy. I know what you can't do on Etsy. I know why they said they couldn't do something, but that was not the reason they gave me. And I just didn't feel great about the experience. I'm not going to say anything about the name of it. I'm just not going to use them again. But because many of you probably will have an awesome, lovely experience, this happened to be me, and there are so many places to choose that I will just shop somewhere else. That's all. But I did pick up 2 of the Classic Colorwork, the new colors. One is Cottage Daisies and one's Fields of Green. Aren't those beautiful? If you know how people wrap. I'm not good at that because I don't use the over dyes very often. And that's beautiful. I thought those would be wonderful spring colors. Stay tuned. You might see those in a minute or 2. And then these are not out of the plastic. I'm not going to bother taking them out because I just want to show them quick. We're already at an hour, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. I got Chubby Bunny. And this one, I'm not 100% sure if I'm stitching it or I'm just giving it away. I really like Chubby Bird, which I do not own. And so I picked up Chubby Bunny because it might be cute. Either this could be a cute ornament, or if I do, I don't know how many chubby whatever she's going to do, but might be nice as a full set on a scrapbook page. Do you know what I mean? So I picked that one up. Not sure eventually. I love Primrose Cottage, so I picked up the Snowman 2023. That's adorable. I most definitely plan on stitching that. Love, love, love that. I'll probably put it on a blue. I've never stitched anything from Erica Michaels, but I picked up The Beach is Calling because, you know, it's the beach. And I think there are sections of this, if I wanted to, I could stitch on its own, but I do like it on its whole too. So I picked that up. Now, you know that I generally don't, I never have done a market order before, and I generally don't do big orders like this. I figured I was just kind of giving it a go, and so I ordered more than I normally do. I did pick up from Plum Street the Tortoise Tower because it was so darn cute. Oh, interesting. So there is something over 1. So if I don't think it'll work, I'll just give it away. I wasn't sure about that. We'll see. If I can make it work, I'll stitch it. Or maybe I stitch, because it says the baby tortoise, their head and tail over 1. So either if I can make it work, or maybe I just do the 2. We'll see. Then I did pick up, because, you know, it's gorgeous, and I know everybody and their uncle are going to be stitching it. This is probably the one of the most common things I've seen from Flosstubers is October House Fiber Arts, the Honey Fair. Super cute. Love the colors. I could see it doing a background color kind of like that. Maybe Honey Amber potentially from Stephanie. Not sure. Then, of course, Jan Hicks came out with the spring balloons. So that's what they look like. And again, you'll see these eventually, but for now, there's going to be a balloon break. I am also collecting at some point to do the 12 Days of Christmas from Liz Matthews. I'm going to do this version, not the trees. So as they've been coming out, I've been collecting them. I think I want to do them on different shades of green fabric, or if I find one that's perfect for all of them, I'll just buy a bunch of that and do that. This one, Easter's over now, so I ordered this in February. It's Easter Bunny from Shannon Christine. So I won't work on this now, but at some point I'll bring that one back out. And last but not least, Erin Elizabeth Designs. I, of course, have to get the beach house. And how cute would this be? This could definitely be either some ornaments, some trading cards. I don't make like, if I make like cards, greeting cards, I generally stamp them or do some sort of paper technique. But if you like to stitch them, these might be cute as well, if you wanted to use one of the sections of them. Because a couple of these sections, like for example, the anchor, that would be cute. And if I was doing the anchor on its own, I might do it on like a lighter blue. I don't know if I'd stitch it on as deep. The white pops on this. I don't know. I'll have to stop and think about it. So those are the pieces that I picked up from Market. And I don't know when I will be stitching any of them, but they're there. Those were what caught my eye. I don't think I would generally do a Market order again, but you know, you just for the experience, I did it. So, alrighty, that's that, or pre-order, I should say. I don't know if I would pre-order again because I felt like things were available pretty close afterwards. And I mean, and some of these designers have already offered the PDF versions of these. So if I wanted to do a PDF, I could have already gotten it in some cases. So, I did it. I can say I did it, and now I probably won't do it again. All right, and that's it for that's it for shopping, which that's enough shopping. Alrighty, so giveaway. I have a couple different pieces of business. I do want to remember Caroline, work in progress, that you won this welcome. What's it officially called? Coastal Welcome, Ursula Michaels. So one more week, please. If you could get back to me, I would love to send that to you. If I don't hear from you by next video, I will pick a new winner. And then this week, I am giving away, I had stitched this, what's it called? A Little Cottage from Hands on Design. I asked you to say the word waves if you were interested in receiving it and passing. I was going to pass the stash on. I've gotten it done. I won't do it again. So I'd like to share it with somebody else. It's getting really warm up here. So if I move everything around, my winner is, who's my winner? My winner is Nancy Nunnenkamp. So congratulations, Nancy. If you could get back to me, I will send that out to you. And you can either get back to me on my Gmail, which is stitchingbytheshort@gmail.com, or you can also message me on Instagram. My Instagram is Paper Laura because I had that long before I was even stitching. And it's all free for all. I have life stitching. I have everything. And I am more apt to put a story on Instagram than a post. So I'm kind of a boring follow when it comes to Instagram, but it's nice because I can talk to people that way too. So feel free to reach out to me that way. And you saw these before. This week I am going to share the two classic colorworks, Cottage Daisies, and Fields of Green with one of you. So I was trying to think of a word that, you know, might not be said in general. So I'm going to use the word field, F-I-E-L-D, because this is called Fields of Green. And I'll do a double check. If you accidentally add the S, I'll check too. But field is the word. And if you say that, I will put your name in the blue bowl, and I will next video choose a winner of these flosses. And I want to say the green has some variegation. It's not like in your face, but it is kind of lovely, subtle. And the yellow does too. It goes from light to dark. So they actually do both have it, but they're not stark variegations. They are more subtle. I think they'd be pretty once you stitched with them. But I think if you're looking for really crazy, not crazy, that's the wrong word, really stark variegations, you might not get them on these. So that's this week's giveaway. And if that's all, if you're here just for the stitching, then thank you so much. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you next time. So I have tea this week. Today's tea it's a mango passion fruit, but it is a red tea. For those of you who, rooibos, I believe that's how you say it. I really don't know because I'm no tea expert. Red tea has a very distinct flavor. If you are interested, I would say get a sample of something beforehand because it's not for everybody. I like kind of different flavors of tea, and I don't care for things that are too sweet. Because again, I don't like a lot of sweet. So for me, I like this, even though it is mango passion fruit. The red makes it not so sweet. So, but always check a sample first before you order something on something like that, because I would hate for you to get something, spend the money on it, and just not really like it. I just happen to like it. I have 2 or 3 red teas that I like to rotate, one of which is a chai because it has no caffeine. I find that caffeine for me makes me not well. I don't sleep well at times as it is, but caffeine will just, I won't sleep at all then. So even my coffee is decaf. And I know that green tea has a little bit of caffeine. If I have green tea, I have it first thing in the morning. So by later on, it's worn off. But for the most part, I try to do decaf. So that's the tea. All right, so life stuff. I'm not going to get into a lot of it. Unfortunately, this weekend was not a fun and happy weekend like many of you may have experienced. My mom has, I haven't spoken a lot about it, but over the last 2-3 months, my mom has deteriorated physically. She's fallen multiple times, and she's had some surgeries and things, and mentally. So up to now, she was forgetful, and we knew at some point that forgetfulness would get to a point where it would be stronger. But these multiple falls, multiple surgeries, multiple just stuff deteriorated her mental state drastically. And she's much different a person now. So we had to make the very difficult decision, and we've waited and waited over the last few months of having to put her in a home. So this weekend, excuse me, you can see it obviously. You have to figure out sometimes what is safest. And I have brothers up there that obviously were part of it. I'm not the only one making these decisions, but it was what we needed to do in the end. And so this weekend we went up, Mo and I did, and we spent the weekend clearing out her apartment. And I'll just leave it at that. What I will say is kind of a lesson I've learned. If you have a lot of stuff that maybe your children, my mom was a collector, but she can't take it with her. And none of us collect what or none of us are really collectors in that sense. And so, and she's not at a point where she can tell us, you know, what to do with her stuff. So we had to make some really difficult decisions about, there's quite a bit I kept because I wanted to tell her in a moment that maybe she'll understand that I have it. But I had to get rid of a lot of stuff, and it breaks my heart, and it made me feel so guilty. So please, if you have a lot of stuff, please have some sort of plan, or let people know that it's okay. They don't have to keep it all. They don't have to find, because we just couldn't. This little woman, she's 4'10" on a good day. This little woman has so much stuff. And so, you know, and clothes, and, you know, just a lifetime of, even though she moved in multiple moves and she was in an apartment, it's amazing what you can pack in an apartment. So I would just say, please, please, you know, spare some guilt if you can, and just have a plan at some point. Because I felt really bad, but I just couldn't keep it all. So the kids and I each kind of kept, the kids were not around, but I FaceTimed them. My mom had like a lot of little knickknacks and figurines. And so I went through and I asked the kids what they would like. And so they each chose something, and so on and so forth. And I chose something, and actually there was something that even Mo wanted to put in his office, so he did that as well. And then we have some set aside, just packed away, and it'll stay packed away, honestly, until my kids have to decide what to do with it, to be honest with you. But it was just something I wouldn't, it was a difficult weekend. Easter, that's how we spent our Easter. 8 a.m. we went over there. We kind of had to, because there was a company coming in on Monday, and they were anything we couldn't, you know, and certainly the furniture and all that, you know, we want to either donate or whatever. So, and clothes, we took clothes to a church donation site. But 8 a.m. on Sunday morning till 9 p.m. on Sunday night, Mo and I just worked straight through. I think we took a short break for lunch, a short break for dinner, but we just did it all. And then Monday we had some more to do. Sunday was obviously the day I stitched 94 stitches. We came back to the hotel and I said, I need to stitch, but I was so tired I couldn't do more than a few strands. But Monday we had to do some finish up stuff. Then the company came. Boy, those guys they were so nice, and they're just so efficient. And how they load the trucks, I have to tell you, their brains are much smarter than mine. I couldn't fit all of that in that one, but they did. And then obviously do a clean and everything else with that. So, and then Monday afternoon, we did go to my in-laws, and we visited, and actually my in-laws helped. They were an incredible help both Sunday and Monday, because Mo and I couldn't have done it ourselves. And my brothers were working, so it fell upon me to do the work. And so I did it. And but my in-laws they were champs. They came, and you know, because like with the clothes, I wanted to ask my mother-in-law, I'm like, I don't know what my mom would wear, say, you know, because obviously I was going to save some stuff. So she was helpful in what she thought would be useful and what wouldn't be. And my mom is not eating, refuses to eat, so she's lost a lot of weight. So of course then I, you know, trying to figure out what to, you know, what sizes and everything like that. So, and we did visit my mom as well. I was nervous because, you know, she's not herself, and I have to be careful what I said and how I said it, because it's just a different person in there now. So, and I said I wasn't going to cry. But anyway, so then, so that's done. It's done. I was dreading it. Hence why the shopping, trying to distract myself, and Friday night Zoom was phenomenal because I was able to totally distract myself for what was coming. Hopefully tonight I'll be able to Zoom again. Fingers crossed. We'll see. I don't know what Mo and I are doing this afternoon. I think we are going to go down to Bethany for a little while because the weather is beautiful before it turns. Meg has a game tomorrow, but it's away, so I'll just watch it streaming. And of course we have Aston Villa because Mo's team is on tomorrow. He is ridiculously excited because it was announced this week that 6 English soccer teams, football teams, are having a pseudo tournament here in the States, and they are going to be on the East Coast, including Philly and Maryland. I want to say the Maryland field might be where, I don't know if that's where because the Commanders are a Washington team, but I think their stadium is, I don't know. I mean, we're not going down to Orlando, but he's really, his team is going to be playing in one of those stadiums, and he's super, super excited. So, I mean, it's not easy to get tickets because in the States, it is quite popular here, but he put his name on a list that will kind of let him know when things are available. So he is super excited. We may have a little adventure this summer with that. So, that'll be fun. It'll be something different. It'll be an experience. I don't think he's ever been to, he became a fan of Aston Villa because when he did a year in Scotland for college, and his roommates or his friends, I'm not sure exactly, they were huge Aston Villa fans because they were from that area. And so he adopted that team as his favorite and has kept it all these years. So he's never had a chance to go to a game, so I think he'd be super excited. I know it's different here than over there, but I think that'd be a lot of fun for him. I've looked and looked and looked for an Aston Villa like cross stitch kind of thing. I really haven't found anything. For my UK friends, if there is a site that you know of that might have some cool stuff like that, I'm not exactly sure what I want from it, but let me know because I know a lot of you are UK friends, and so you might have some good links that I wouldn't necessarily know. So, yeah, so that's something to potentially look forward to, and so on and so forth. And next time I see you, Megan has senior day coming up, so we will be going to that game, of course, because it's senior day and all the seniors get honored and so on and so forth. So fingers crossed the weather doesn't turn really bad because it's been our luck. The weather has not been great on the days we've actually gone to games in person. So I'm hoping that will be better. But there is a trip to Pennsylvania in our future next week. Luckily, it is close, and it's a one-day kind of deal. I think Mo took a half a day from work because it is a weekday. So we would go up. He'd work half a day, then we'd go up. They're doing some sort of catering afterwards. So after the game, I don't know, one of the moms put it all together, and so there'll be like a little, I don't want to say party, but a little, kind of gathering afterwards to kind of celebrate the seniors and the team itself as the season winds down. The season only goes to the end of April unless you're in one of the tournaments, which I don't believe Megan's team will be. So that'll be it. Her college career for sports will be done. So that's next week. So that is something to look forward to as well. And that's about it. The other thing I would want to say for public service announcement, no matter your age, please do balance work. Ask your doctor what you can do. But my mom has, except for some cholesterol issues, was super, super healthy in that sense, walked a couple hours a day, but she refused to do anything balance or stretching and all that kind of stuff. And as a result, multiple falls. I like doing balance work. I find it kind of a challenge and kind of neat, but at any age, as long as your doctor is okay it, and always do it next to something where you can grab onto. But please look into 2 minutes a day, really 2 minutes a day, just to keep your balance up in multiple planes of motion, so that if at any point, you start to stumble, if your body has that kind of brain-body connection, it might just not even realize it and keep you from falling. So please, please, please. That's another thing I would ask you to do, even if it is just for a minute or two a day. Please do some balance work. because I don't want any of you to fall. I don't want any of you to be hurt, type of thing. So that's that. And like I said, I think of it a challenge. I think it's more fun to me than all the other exercise stuff I do. I like the balance work. Too bad I can't do just balance work all the time. Okay, so that's about it. Now that I've broken down on you, and I really thought I'd be okay. But really, you all know me. I'm a crier. Should we be surprised that I lost it? No, we shouldn't be surprised. But, you know, I felt strongly that, you know, just some things I wanted to share that, you know, what I went through, that maybe down the road, you know, we're all in this together, and we all kind of have to do these things together, right? And support each other. So I think it's important, to be honest. And life is not, I'm a glass half full kind of person, and have always tried to be. But, you know, smiles don't always, it's not always smiles, right? Life is full of other stuff. We're not just what the social media images show. So I wanted to share that and show that there are some sad and deeper, darker parts of my life. And if you've stayed this long, you care. If you don't care, you usually would leave after the cross stitch, right? So that's the way I look at it. But that's it. That's it. I'm going to stop rambling because this video will take forever to upload. So if you are still with me, thank you so much. And thank you for all of your well wishes. None of you knew, well, most of you did not know what was happening this weekend. And you still, you know, said that you would keep me in your thoughts. I know some people reached out and just said something like a little extra thinking about you. Anybody that did know, you know, kind of supported me and has supported me through it. So each and every one of you help, whether you realize it or not. We are a true community, this cross-stitch community, and it is amazing and wonderful and a beautiful thing. And especially when you are in need, to know that you all are there to lean on is just, it's indescribable. It's wonderful. So thank you. But not only that, remember that you are important and you matter. Please do whatever you need to do for your peace of mind, your health, your whatever, you know, whatever it is, mental, emotional, physical, however it is, please take care of yourself. Please, at times, put yourself first. It is really important to take away that idea that that's selfish. It's not. Your care, your self-care is as important as anybody else's. And you cannot help others if you are running on empty. So please take the time to take care of yourself and give yourself that little extra special care and attention, because you are important and you deserve it. All right, that's it. I'm done. Until next time, happy stitching.